Perfect. Let me share my screen. Okay. Do you all see the deck, or do you all see like airdrop thing?
AirDrop.
Airdrop, right? Already. Okay.
Yep.
Better? Do you see the deck? All right.
Yes.
Perfect. Good. So yeah, I think we all know what we're here for. I'm just going to quickly speed run through a bunch of questions I want to do before I jump into some of the more security and on-chain practices stuff. Essentially, I want to get a pulse on who here has done how much on-chain activity and what are their biggest problems in space, right? So one, I want to quickly understand, does everyone here use a Chrome extension or a mobile wallet regularly? So that means, let's say in a week or two, let's say you use it 3 or 4 times, 5 times at least, whether it's using for dApps, for swaps, minting NFTs, etc. Yes, if you think it's subjective, yes. Otherwise, just no in the chat works for me. I mean, I was just doubling down because of course, if you're from FBI, everyone's here, makes sense you're using it regularly. Um, Next, how often do you engage in on-chain activities? Again, I think this covers largely what I wanted to know. Do you use a hardware wallet or a multi-sig? Have you, I would prefer not like Abhishek, if you just like used it once or rarely, but like if you do it regularly, like you at least know how it operates. You have a significant amount of money there, some amount of money in your hot wallet, things like that. So do you use a multi-sig or hardware wallet? Yes or no? Okay, 4 answers so far. 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 8 answers. Anybody else? Yes or no? Mm. All right, perfect. We'll move on. Okay, have you been drugged before? The most spicy question. This leads to everything. I want to get a pulse of if you've been drugged before. Who's that guy with no? Who's this? Uh, okay, everyone's been drugged before except for a couple. I yeah, I would probably, and by rugged I mean like scammed, okay? Not rugged as in I bought a meme coin and it went to zero. Doesn't count. It has to be it has to be your money was unintentionally taken away from you. The best way to put it. All right. At least some. So that's helpful. Okay. Yeah, that's a double whammy. All right, perfect. So we'll jump right into it. You don't need to like go through this whole deck with me. This is essentially for someone to like look back post the call. But what I want to do is mostly have conversations about each of these major scams or major attack vectors for anybody that's participating, especially if you're from the FBI Telegram group. Very likely you are very active on Base. So you are interacting with an EVM chain. And if anyone's a dev here, or even generally, you understand if you use the chain, you need to have approvals on. So most EVM chains struggle with this problem. And one common attack vector is when you go to a dApp and you set approvals for spending or for anything else, they generally go for like an infinite spend on your assets. So let's say you want to swap $10 worth of USDC to Ethereum or whatever. Uniswap will ask you for like an infinite approval on like 100,000 USDC or 200,000 USDC or like a million USDC, whatever the number is, right? And you tend to, out of the need for convenience, just like quickly hit approve, and just like move on. But now what you've done is that the Uniswap contract has permanent access to being able to spend X amount of USDC of yours. Same applies to NFT marketplaces, by the way. When you give approvals to list an asset on OpenSea, on Blur, you set infinite approvals on your assets. So whenever there's a exploit on the parent contract of that particular marketplace or the operator and stuff like that, your assets are bound to be lost with it. So you'll know nothing of what happened. You will be like, I haven't signed a transaction in the last few days and so on. So what's up? What did I lose money? But you signed a transaction a long time ago, which set spending approval. So major issue. always know what you're approving and approve only that amount or that quantity, that limited quantity that you need to get approved, right? And also, a reversal for this is if it's too many things you approved on address already and you really want to use that address, maintain that address, go to revoke.cash and you can connect your wallet over there and revoke all that access. But if you want, if it's like it's an expendable address, as in you don't need that address, it's not your identity, then just create a new address and move your assets out. You don't need to use it again. Delete that address, get a new seed phrase. You actually don't need a new seed phrase, but in case you want to get rid of the whole wallet, you can do that. What I mean is get used to the habit of using multiple wallet addresses and signing transactions on each one of them, moving assets here and in and out. Don't keep money in a single address at all times, especially if it's a hot wallet. I'll come to like wallet types and things like that and how you break it down. But essentially that kind of helps you maintain good practices and hygiene. So I largely don't use the same address again and again, unless it's like my first few primary addresses on a wallet. Of course, avoid clicking on all sorts of random links. I know there's this tendency of thinking that, hey, if I don't click on this link, I will miss out on an opportunity. Trust me, if it's a good enough opportunity, it'll come to you anyway, right? Like it does not depend on you responding to a link or clicking on a link. And anyone that's legitimate in crypto will stick around and be like, you know what, I understand you don't want to click on a link. I will find a way to talk to you some other way, right? Gmeet or whatever. So avoid clicking all sorts of links, especially if it looks sus. Generally, I do not send people links either. I try and avoid unless you're like a friend, and unless we have a call or something of that sort. If I'm approaching someone in cold DMs, just good hygiene is to even not seem like a scammer yourself. So I usually send a PDF or a screenshot of what I want to say to them, even if it's like a document, so they know I'm not trying to like send them a link, drug them, something of that sort. So you would expect the same hygiene from someone who's DMing you. So you know now what to ask of them when they're trying to tell you, hey, can you click on this Google Doc link to like read up something? Tell them, hey, can you send me a screenshot? And that's the kind of leverage you need to also earn, especially if you are a earning participant in crypto. You want to be able to command that kind of an authority in a conversation. So I'm slightly digressing, but important to note. Address poisoning is massive as an issue. But also very underrated and underspoken because it's slightly unbelievable as a hack, I suppose. This happens when people are used to going to their Etherscan links or to their wallet addresses on Etherscan or their block explorer or Basescan and picking up their last transaction history and wallet address from there. Let's say you send money from wallet A of your account to wallet B, right? And you're like, oh, how do I get my wallet B address for the next transaction? Let me just go to my Basescan and just like pick up that address and use it in my MetaMask and make the transaction happen. What's happened is if you are a high value target or if even remotely valuable target, someone has spammed your wallet with multiple transactions with vanity addresses that match your address. So the initial and the ending will probably match with your address. And you're like, oh, this looks similar to my address. Usually nobody reads in the middle, right? So you'll get screwed over there. Nobody reads and checks the whole address. I'm paranoid enough to check for every single thing, but most people don't. So you'll be better off not taking up addresses from block explorers. Use contact fields in your MetaMask or any other wallet. There's usually an address book that we can use to like white label wallets and addresses. So just go ahead and make the full use of that. And do not cheap out on these hygiene efforts. I think most people are like, I don't need this. I don't have enough money in my wallet right now. Trust me, you will. And at that point, you'll need to rework the whole thing backwards. It's too much of an effort, right? So stay prepared from day one. I started doing all of these things when I barely had any money in crypto. And it was mostly a preventive measure for future funds, right? So be careful on that front. Social engineering, I don't need to explain much of this, but essentially avoid being tricked into a conversation, whether it's someone's like, hey, I'm from X team, I'm from your team, I am from someone who wants to hire you. They'll usually try and play a long con with you where they'll constantly keep talking to you about something not scammy for like small dollars. And essentially they're scamming for the big bucks, right? Because they're trying to play the big game. They don't care about your $15. They care about the 1.5K or 15K or 150K that you have. So if it's not someone that you've actually seen or spoken to, don't get into that conversation. Don't get into that that trust assumption, right? Where they're like, hey, you know what? I seemingly can't download this file. Can you do it for me? Let's do it on a Google Meet. Of course, they'll come on a Google Meet. The stakes are too high. Unless they show you your face and other details, don't trust them. I usually, no matter what you have to offer me, I won't entertain this. And I did not entertain this even when I was starting in crypto. So it's not a function of how late you are in the space, how early you are in the space. All right. So again, don't get tricked by employers, banks, government authorities trying to tell you that, hey, you're in trouble. None of that doesn't work. Tell them to send a notice, tell them to send details. Always text. All right. Next is phishing and spear phishing. This is essentially the same as links and attacks on links. You could be phished for your credentials, login credentials, Google email, 2FA, a bunch of these things, all problematic. You can have your social accounts taken away from you. And spear phishing is when you have someone targeted specifically, a high net worth individual or someone who has decent amount of value in crypto, but is generally not so like it doesn't have to be someone who is in person, has a lot of fiat as well. It's just like crypto wallets that are tracked. And then these people are specifically targeted with SIM swaps and a bunch of other attack vectors, right? So you can be specifically targeted. And lastly, seed phrase and private key leaks. Pretty common. People usually in crypto assume that if you take a picture of a seed phrase for some reason, it's safe. No, not true. If you take a picture of even a hardware wallet seed phrase, if you take a picture of it, it's now a hot wallet. Throw that wallet away, like reset it, find a new seed. So I'll come to like what a hardware wallet does that's different from a hot wallet. But essentially, do not take pictures, only use paper to like write about a seed phrase or write your private keys down. And just for, I don't know if like there's non-tech people over here, in your wallet, understand what a wallet is made of, right? What a address is made of, the components it's made of. A seed phrase is used to generate multiple public keys and private keys. So when you go to your wallet, you can, that's why I create hundreds of like accounts and addresses. And each of these addresses has its own private key. So that's the private key I'm talking about. You can go and find it in your each address. Don't export or don't publish that anywhere. Don't publish your seed phrase. Again, standard hygiene. All right. I think if someone has questions in the meanwhile, please feel free to drop it in the chat as well. And maybe I can take it up in the presentation itself or towards the end. All right. Here, I think what I want to do is maybe speak about where you store your funds and some general like practices around wallet safety. So mobile wallets, avoid trying to hold mobile wallets and funds, significant amount of funds in mobile wallets. I till this day do not hold a lot of my money in mobile wallets at all. Actually, I probably hold like max $10. Another attack I forgot about that reminds me is wrench attack. You can get hit on your head with any item at any point in time if you are doxxed publicly. So I wouldn't recommend one, doxing your wallets, to roaming around with funds in your hands in your phone. I've seen a lot of my friends do this, by the way, like have a massive, without naming names, have a massive amount of money in just their phone. Well, they put it up at a cafe and I'm like, oh, I have like 5K, 10K dollars. And I'm like, you are insane, because we have a tendency of being very vocal on Twitter. So it's known by people that you likely have funds. Don't do that, please. All right, so store minimal funds in your mobile wallets unless you know what you're using it for. Unless you say are traveling for X period of time and you need to like spend on something, or you need to make a transaction, or you need to mint an NFT. It's like a spend approval on your phone, right? So you know you need to send money to your phone, use it X period of time, send it all back. Keep $10 if you need to for like small swaps here and there. There's nothing that you will miss as an opportunity. There's no opportunity cost worth that amount of money, right? Please, like, I cannot imagine sending like $1,000 over there and being like, oh, I would mint something and made 5K out of it. What are the odds? You're likely going to lose your money trying to make money. So just be careful, be in capital preservation mode all the time. Opportunities keep coming. Use 2FA everywhere, please, on Google accounts, everywhere you can. Your 2FA on your Google Authenticator should have at least 20, 30 2FAs from like every single account. And if possible, if someone has enough funds that need to be secured or enough valuable accounts that need to be secured, try and get a YubiKey, YUBIKUI. YubiKey on Amazon costs about like 7K or something, 8K. But it really depends on your on what you want to secure, right? So if I had to secure my Twitter, it's probably much more valuable to me, and I'd probably get a YubiKey to secure it. So it lets you have a physical device to log in into your accounts, keeps you safe. Lastly, if your crypto assets are worth, if your ledger, if your hardware wallet cost is about, I think, $150 or $200 right now in India, from the official site, which is the only place you should get it from. If it's about 15% of your crypto assets, so let's say your crypto assets are worth 1K to 1.5K USD, go ahead and get it. Actually, I'd even say if it's like $500 of assets, go ahead and get it. You are much likely to make more money just by working and earning in crypto and doing things in crypto than trying to save on $150 and then losing it all and being scarred. What this does for you is it teaches you habits around how to save money in a ledger. It gets you used to the habit of using it. And that's all you need. You need to get into the practice of keeping, like, using a wallet very often, a physical wallet very often. Like I said, it can grow in size. Write your seed phrase on a paper or a metal sheet. It's also available. Amazon can find a metal sheet, use that, or Ledger lets you buy one. Start with seed phrase on a paper, slowly graduate to a metal sheet, and you'll know how to protect your seed phrase. Now, I personally prefer seed phrases over every other solution in crypto because, so I mean, I think it lets you have maximum control, and you can always have copies of your seed phrase. You can also have multi-sigs, so I do a bit of both. Everyone has their own choice on how to store their assets. On multi-sigs, if you are an EVM participant, you can likely use Safe. Safe lets you create, I think, score like a multi-sig on multiple networks. Also Base, we use it. Soumya and I for a bunch of things, and I'm sure a lot of you do as well. But anyone that does not, use Safe. We have squads for Solana. So if you're a Solana user and or you want to be a Solana user, doesn't matter, use squads. They also have something called Fuse, which is like a smart account, a smart wallet that you can use. It's much more easier to access. So go ahead and use that. Key splits and things like that really depends on your risk tolerance. I would recommend something like a 2 to 4 key split. That means if I had to break it down, every multi-sig wallet has 4 keys or like whatever number of keys that you want to add, 5 keys, 10 signers, 20 signers, 30 signers, doesn't matter. You can add as many signers as you want. But the first half of the number, that's 2, 3, whatever, is the threshold you need to have to sign a transaction or execute a transaction. So let's say if Soumya, Abhishek, and we had a wallet and the signing authority on that was 2, the threshold was 2 out of 3. That means either Abhishek, me, Soumya, me, or what, 2 of us would need to like make that execute the transaction and go ahead and proceed with it to execute and get the funds out. So you can do this with yourself, keep your family, friends, whoever you want, keep a phone wallet, doesn't matter. You can use any sort of split to protect your assets. Ideally, if you're too paranoid about things being with you, which is also what something I explore and I do as well, that is give a key to your friend, give a key to your family, especially if someone who there understands at least how to like sign a transaction. What that lets you do is if at some point, even if their accounts are hacked and if their key is exposed, they only have one key with them. So you're fine, you're good. Nobody's going to be able to take your funds. And for convenience sake, you can keep like 1 key with you or 2 keys with you. That split is entirely up to you. It's just that you need to decide on the interface itself, what is that split. And this is a very popular policy that was, propagated by Punk6529. You can find it on Twitter. Actually, I forgot to add the like a QR code over here, but essentially go to Twitter, type Punk56529, and type TAP. You'll find like a thread where he details on why you should split up your addresses and how to split up your addresses. So one address policy, one address that he wants everyone to have, and I do the same thing as well, is have a cold wallet, have a cold address that interacts with nothing. Like it does not even sign a transaction on a dApp. It does not, the second it has to connect to the internet to make a transaction, it's not a cold wallet anymore. The only thing this address does is it sends money out and gets money in. So it's your bank. Like a bank does not necessarily connect to every place, right? You use a credit card, debit card to make transactions. The only thing a bank does well is it transfers money and receives money into their account. So do that. Keep a separate one wallet address, ideally a hardware wallet in this case. So let's say if you Let's say if Abhishek has a wallet address, a hardware wallet address, a ledger that he bought, he holds it with him. He stores it away somewhere in his house, somewhere else, doesn't matter. He never uses that wallet on the internet. So he does not connect to Uniswap, none of that. If he wants to make a swap, let's say he has 100 USDC, he wants to swap to Ether. What he'll do is he'll move that $100 to a separate hot wallet on an extension on a Chrome browser, swap it there, and send the money back. Pay the extra fees, doesn't matter. Just to not expose your hardware wallet. Keep it clean. Yeah, think of its purity, right? Just like make sure it does not touch anything. You want to be as cold as possible. Miss a slide. Okay, never mind. So the other is you would need to have an address for having a warm or a warm wallet of sorts, a warm or a hot wallet. This is where, let's say you have your cold wallet, which sends funds to a hot wallet, which is an extension wallet, like a MetaMask, Phantom, whatever, which you have on your browser. You can use that wallet to mint NFTs, make swaps, all of those things. So that's a hot wallet. You generally use it to make transactions. It's a mediator, and you can like swap, do things, etc., and then send funds back to your cold wallet. So that's the purpose of the mediator or the warm or the hot wallet. Lastly, you have the burner wallet. In the burner wallet, you are an absolute degen. In the burner wallet, you could essentially take the same Chrome wallet that I spoke to you about recently, and you can have another address inside of it that's just burner, or like additional addresses that are all burner addresses. A burner address simply means you are willing to connect it to random nonsense, a meme coin pre-sale, a new DApp, a new experiment, a new Farcaster protocol, whatever, app, web client, things like that. It gives you the freedom of being able to experiment and also not lose funds, because you'll keep like very bare minimum amount of money over there. And there you might be able to experiment with the approvals, right? So there maybe you're like, hey, I don't need to worry about how much I approve over here because I'm not going to keep money here at all. And because you've tagged it as a burner, you know it's exposed to whatever random nonsense. You're never going to like put significant amount of money over there. You're going to just skim through it. So keep a 3 address policy. And the burner address could also be like a phone address, by the way. So your phone, mobile addresses could all be burners. It's mostly used for, let's say, checking out social applications, things like that. Yeah. Like I said, keep good hygiene with your wallets. When you have your MetaMask wallet or Phantom wallet, name everyone separately. So I do the way you would probably have your calendar marked like random nonsense on a calendar, right? So you would say, oh, I want to do X, I want to do Y. You have your daily calendar sorted out for you. Use your accounts on MetaMask liberally. Just like go ahead and name them. Hey, I used Uniswap today, so this is it. I used this in this month, so I want to make it a month kind of a address. I don't want to use it after this month. I use it for X pre-sale. It got rugged. Here's the pre-sale name on it. You know never to go back to like bad accounts, and you know when to go back to good accounts. Also, good practice. I don't know how many will do it, but good practice for taxes and other things. So just in case you're into that kind of stuff, and you're free to have good hygiene on wallet maintenance. So you can always go and pull up transactions from whatever date. All right, a recent example of something that was interesting was uh, someone lost at A16Z lost their user handle. So they changed their user handle. So let's say the user handle was 123. They were like, you know what? I don't want that. I want O0, like ONE TWO, like a spelled out a name of 123 and not the original 123. So they let go of the previous handle and they had a new handle that they acquired on Twitter. And now on the website of A16Z, it was still linked to the old handle. So when someone was reached out to by this new participant, this new hacker who had acquired this handle, they really thought that A16Z's team members had reached out to them or a core team member had reached out to them. And so technically, by all means, you could have just been scammed by this. You could have been like, you know what? I checked their website and see the actual handle. It's the actual account. And looks like they want to speak to me. And well, got rugged massively. Had to download like a random file, which is a Calendly link again, and then they lost all their money. Not advised, right? Not everyone can save you from your mishaps in crypto. Very often, I think I'd say 90% of the times you lost all your money. Probably even more. I'm probably being a bit generous with the 10%. So try not to lose your money. And I think that's pretty much it. It broadly covers what you should do, what you shouldn't do. keep your ledgers with you, keep your multi-sigs with you, but I'm happy to take questions about anything in particular that you might have, whether that is type of wallets, ledgers, or yeah, anything else. You can either speak or just like drop it in chat. Whatever works.
Oh, I have one question. So regarding multisigs versus ledger, what would you say are safer? Like, I feel like multisigs are better because you don't have to, like, the access is spread across multiple addresses. But a ledger is something that you specifically own, but you have a seed written somewhere in your house, maybe on a piece of paper or a metal sheet.
Yeah.
So what would you say would be a better option to store all the, at least the major chunk?
Both are good depending on what you're using, right? So the both have pros and cons. So multi-sigs have a smart contract risk, even though a lot of them are Lindy right now. Safe has been around for a while, not hacked and stuff like that. But you can never say no. You can never say never to these things. So that's why that's a con you should consider. The other is a lot of these are unless you understand how to work with the program, you are dependent on the interface itself. So the interface goes down, you are stuck without your assets. So it's like the bank saying the money is there, the gold is there in the treasury, in the safety deposit box, but the bank's doors are shut today. Come tomorrow. As good as not having access to your funds. So those are like primary concerns with that. The other concern I have with multi-sigs is when you have, let's say, a 2 out of 3 wallet system or a signer system, you could lose you could say you can't lose like, or you can lose only like one address. But if you are, let's say, one address is on your laptop and one address is on your phone, and someday your bag gets stolen, and just like you were sleeping in a train, I don't know, anything could happen. Like your 2 keys that you roam around with the most could get taken away. Versus if you had a seed that has multiple copies that are all stored in 3 places or 4 places or 5 places, or even split, and you don't have to keep the whole thing together. You can split it up and like put it away, right? Or here's a better one: take a seed, jumble up any 2 random words, or change one word from it. Change one word and replace it with something else. It will take quite some time for someone to figure and decipher that word out. Like, your brute force will take a bit,
Maybe.
and in that time, you could always swap out your assets. So think of it this way: if someone gets access to your seed, while you have another copy somewhere else, it takes you a moment's time because you already have the complete seed, and this person has to like find the next word. So I would say a combination of these probably works best. That's why when I said multi-sig, I said have more addresses than just like borderline addresses. Jahan pe you're like, oh, I just have a 2 signer out of 3 limit. Versus if you had 2 out of 4 and 2 are spread across some very different regions, and the other 2 are with you, or one is with you and one is someone close by that nobody knows of, you can find a way to navigate that. But this is essentially for a higher uh, portfolio value. So depending on how much you want to store away into your SIGs and into your hardware wallets, the rest could just be in a Chrome extension. But yeah, you got to keep that habit of moving money into the cold wallets as soon as possible.
Got it. And do you also recommend like having multiple seed phrase? Because if I have 2 signers from the same seed phrase, if I crack the seed phrase, then I can get all
Yeah,
the addresses. Maybe have
multiple.
multiple seed phrases as well.
Yeah, multiple seeds. So the mistake people do is they use the same seed to generate 2 different keys and sign the same multi-sig with it. There's no point. If your seed is exposed, especially with a hot wallet, you're dead. You're as good as being dead.
Got it.
The ultimate level of security, even in multi-sigs, is if you take a multi-sig of, let's say, 2 out of 4, 2 out of 3, and you have all 3 signers with 3 different hardware wallets. That is like you
Oops.
added 3 seed phrases of security to one. Now, of course, in that case, this bro is operating on a different level. Don't even read that. don't 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 confuse your brains. Like sign multi-sig with multi-sig. But yeah, these are the kind of like people like I've seen in the last bull cycle, a lot of whales would do this. They would have massive like $100 million net worth accounts, have multiple hardware wallets that they would use to like sign safes and things like that, and then move money around. So depends.
Got it. Makes sense. Yeah, that kind of answers it. Thanks.
Uh, See the questions. How do I know if my wallet is already compromised? Context: I was farming fuel. Arjun Kas's Twitter got hacked and he posted a link for checking airdrop. I signed in later, got to know that it was a scam link. Nothing happened. Something likely happened. I would just, I would think while revoke cache is a great way to like look at it and be like, you know what, this is probably exposed as an account. I would just not ever touch that wallet address again unless it's your like core address. Is no benefit of trying to be a hero and keeping that wallet, right? Get rid of it. Start a new one, move your ENS if you have it and have any over there. If you sign in multiple places, do it all over again. It's like losing your, it's like knowing your wallet, your password was leaked on some platform, but you're like, I'm too lazy to change it everywhere else. Well, so yeah, it's best to just move on. All right. Any more questions? Any more thoughts?
No,
Anything you want to share?
just one like I don't know, like have you used Revoke? Like everyone here has used Revoke Cash, right? So I remember like I lost some funds while revoking. Okay. So
Oh,
which
thanks.
was really cool to just know that this can happen. So essentially, like when you go to Revoke Cash, there are two. Let me see if I can share my screen. It's, okay, I can't share it. Oh, wait one second.
Oh,
I
you
can
not
share.
have access?
Oh, no, I have access. One second. You should be on. You see it now, right? So here, go to my approvals. Okay. So it'll show you approvals and it'll show you signatures, right? So approvals is where you have actually given access to someone, and signatures is where you've signed something. Okay. So approval is like a limit on Rainbow that you've said, okay, you can say, give access to Degen to swap a certain amount, say 100K Degen, whatever. And then every time you transact, you try and sign a transaction saying, okay, 2000 Degen, 10,000 Degen, whatever. It's a signage for that approval. Here, for example, now there are potential permit signatures. What someone can do is that they can send you a signature, and I lost money here while canceling signatures. So I thought that these are signatures where I have signed. But what they can do is that when you canceling this signature, anyone can send you this cancel signature thing and can get access to your like you'll eventually end up giving access to whatever asset that you're canceling in a way. So yeah, this is like one thing that I've seen.
Yeah, I think a good way to think about this, and I'm always skeptical of adding. Oh, by the way, one more thing: don't add extension wallets to your extensions to your browser unnecessarily. If you don't trust it, if your 10 friends haven't sent you the link, I by the way ask all my friends for links. My friends are tired of me, but it's worth every last annoyance. Ask your friends for the right link versus you doing gymnastics and finding the right link. Even Twitter is risky these days. So I'll sometimes ping Soumya as well. Like even for everything, I'm just like, bro, just send me the link. I don't trust anything else. But the extension I was talking about was called Pocket Universe. Pocket Universe does a lot of good work in telling you much before you even reach your wallet what the transaction is about. So currently, wallets have improved their simulation, so it tells you how much money comes in, how much money goes out, because Backpack does this really well. Backpack tells you exactly the amount of money that's coming into your wallet and money going out, all the assets. So it's very clearly shown to you. MetaMask is horrible at that. Phantom is okay-ish. It's still bad, but I think Backpack is the best. But Pocket Universe saves you even before that, because when you hit a transaction on a dApp or you hit the button on a dApp, it shows you one whole window which says, here is what you'll end up doing. And if, by the way, Pocket Universe has a policy that if you get scammed because of a invalid transaction due to Pocket Universe, let's say it does not show you that it's a scam and you sign it and it's a scam, it will refund you up to 2K USD on that transaction. So it has an insurance on every single transaction that you make. Above that, of course, whatever, doesn't matter. But like for smaller transactions, Pocket Universe is great. Check it out. Maybe you can add it to your extension. Again, just because I'm saying don't go and find random links, add it to your Chrome and then get rugged. Check with multiple sources if it's the right link, things like that. Maybe I'll find a way to share it in some group or somewhere else. So yeah, transaction simulation is important. It will help you not get drugged. Rabbi is a wallet I haven't used, so I'm not sure. Maybe someone else can spotlight on that.
Yeah, so Rabbi and Zerion both, they also have the simulation showed. Like when you're signing something, if there are funds being deducted, they're going to show you if new NFTs or you're going to get new tokens from it, they're going to simulate and show it in a pretty well way. So I would say Rabbi and Zerion both are good wallets to have for EVM chains.
Yeah, take the extra second, guys. Take the extra second signing a transaction, please.
Oh yes, please.
There's no
Please.
amount of money that's made. Like we've been doing this for a minute. I think someone can attest to this as well. 10 seconds won't hurt you. All right, cool. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Does anyone else have any questions? Anything you want to share? Maybe something that you thought was a unique scam as well, that happened to you or someone else that might be helpful to others. Always good to know. You can't always make a library of those things. That's why I could only accommodate so many, but listening them out helps.
I think one unique thing
uh,
that I've lost is I think there was this period, right? There's this whole meta when like you would send money to like random wallets, right? And I was like fully sending money to every wallet that I saw on like Twitter. Send
I
money,
remember.
whatever, here take, right? And one of those wallets, uh, I sent money, and in that screenshot it said, right, that you'll get an error saying but approve. Okay. I just hit approve, drained. Or drain direct to. So it's also be very careful, dude. Like even when you're like take that extra 10-second thing, and especially it in that heat, right? Like when you're like trading or investing, especially you can easily lose it. So thankfully there's like a Solana wallet. I didn't hold a lot of funds in that wallet, but still.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's easier to. I mean, I think what happens is, when you're a smaller port, you tend to think like, oh, I'm just gonna like fast trade my way into like whatever number that you have in your head. It doesn't work that way. I think generally most bets are easier made. I mean, of course, if you dedicated like a small amount of funds that you are comfortable losing entirely, and you're like, oh, wow, great. If it's gone, it's gone. That's fine. Other than that, just keep it separate. Okay, cool. I think that's pretty much it. We have the recording of the sesh, do we? And
Yes, we
can
have
see.
the recordings.
What I'll probably do is, I was meaning to do this in the last few days. I'll probably record like a shorter version of this. That is like a 5-10 minute one that can contain everything. And then I'll ship that as well separately. But yeah, feel free to share this one.
Nice. Don't share those pointers where I get scammed, Abbas.
I'll
Please share that.
That is good case study. Probably included in the end.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Abbas, for hosting. Good chat, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining, guys. I'll see you all. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.